Hi, everybody out there in the world. I'm Michael Kerman with Leading Edge Seminars, and I'm here with Lisa Ferentz and Emily Porter, who is our hostess with the mostest and there for you in any way she can help you. And let me just tell you what we're going to do. First, thank you so much for joining us. It's a beautiful October day in Toronto. I don't know where you are, but people are starting to think about what to do this winter that might be exceptionally wonderful, maybe related to work and getting away. And as you know, because you're here, we've organized a series of workshops in Cancun for the whole month of February. And we're just beginning with Lisa, who was actually one of the first people we thought of invited to present in Cancun, to have these meet and greet sessions. Lisa's the first one. Tomorrow we'll have Terry Reel and all our speakers. If you look at our website, they'll all be having meet and greets between now and sometime in November. So the purpose of these sessions are, we have a half an hour. Lisa and I will talk about her program. We'll open it for questions that you can either come to the screen live, or you can use the chat box when we come to that time. And say you'd like to ask a question. Emily will be monitoring that. Also, we've enabled live transcription. If it's easier for you to read those words on the screen, just go to the bottom of your Zoom screen to live transcription, and you can see those words across the bottom of your screen. So first, Lisa, thank you very much for joining us, and welcome to this little funny session. It's not a webinar. You've been introduced. So I thought we should start. I think a lot of people know you, but for people who don't know you and looked at our website, just tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into this interesting life that you're living before we talk about your webinar. We'll do that, your program.
Sure. Well, first of all, thank you so much. You know how much I love you and how delighted I am to be with you. And I'm happy to meet and greet everybody who's joining us today. So I've been in the field now for almost 38 years, which sounds sort of crazy even to my ears. That's a long time. And I think it's a really wonderful time to be in the field because we're learning so much about the impact of trauma on the brain, on the body. I started out as sort of a bit of an anomaly in that I'm not a trauma survivor myself. Many clinicians who gravitate towards the field understandably come with their own kind of history, and that makes a lot of sense. I grew up in a very safe and wonderful and loving family, and just wanted to pay that feeling of confidence and worthiness and the ability to be self-compassionate, wanted to pay that forward. You probably know, Michael, my original plan was to be a Broadway star. And when that didn't quite work out, the fallback was to become a therapist. But the cool thing is, being a therapist, I'm still able to bring so much creativity to the work that I do. And that's certainly going to show up in our workshop in Cancun as well. So I came into the field to pay it forward and to, again, give people that sense of inner peace and self-confidence and self-compassion. And I've been in private practice all these years, and I have my own institute where we provide lots of other CEU trainings. And before COVID, I got to travel the world to train clinicians, and hopefully we're getting ready to be able to travel the world again to be able to do that. I think what I'm most known for is a very strengths-based, depathologized approach to trauma. I'm really not interested in what's wrong with my clients. I'm interested in what's happened to them, the meaning they attach to it, and the creative ways that they've navigated and coped with their life circumstances. So I do like to bring a very positive, resilience-based approach to whomever is sitting across from me. And I think that that's part of what I'm known for in the field, in addition to the books that I've written about treating self-destructive behaviors, again, from a very strengths-based, non-pathologized approach.
Okay. Lisa, when we talked about Cancun, Lisa, for everyone else's information, has been to Toronto a bunch of times to present in person. And if you've been to her workshops live, there's a great amount of energy. And no matter how difficult the topic might be, people are energized and kind of happy at the end of it. Even when we're talking about the saddest, most difficult clients' lives and whatever, there's an energy that you transmit that's amazing. But I said to you, Lisa, Okay, we have 5 days in Cancun, 5 mornings, about 3 hours a morning, 15 hours or so. What would you like to present? And you chose healing attachment wounds and affect dysregulation with expressive modalities and parts work. So why this one?
Because it's stuff I'm so passionate about, and I think it's a really lovely way to sort of put it all together for therapists in a way that is going to give them both a really valuable didactic underpinning, but is also really fun and highly experiential. And as soon as you said Cancun and I thought of the beach and sand, I thought, oh, wait a second, we got to bring all the expressive modalities that I love using in my work with clients. So I think for trauma-informed therapists, understanding the attachment pattern that their clients were given in childhood is hugely beneficial and important. So in the workshop, we're going to talk about the 4 main attachment patterns: secure, avoidant, dismissive, ambivalent, and disorganized. And then we're going to connect what for me is a crucial piece, which is looking at the impact that not getting secure attachment has on our clients' abilities to do affect regulation, manage their emotional states, versus affect dysregulation. And we know that when the attachment pattern is not secure, our clients don't know how to navigate their emotional states. And what that means is that then we see folks who have anger management issues, who get hijacked by anxiety and depression, who may be very emotionally shut down and repressed, or who are turning to addictive and self-destructive behaviors as a way to try to self-soothe and numb, dissociate, or regulate. So because our clients come to us and they don't have good affect regulation skills, I just think, again, in the world of trauma-informed care, the buzzword that we all talk about, we need to be able to give our clients very concrete strategies and tools so that they can learn how to manage their emotional states. I also think the therapeutic relationship provides this really valuable context where we can give our clients a reparative and corrective experience of what secure attachment feels like and looks like. So we'll talk about that at the start of the workshop. We'll go through the attachment patterns, we'll connect it to affect regulation, dysregulation. And then really the rest of the training is going to be fun. It's going to be highly experiential, and people will come away with very concrete tools about how to help clients with internal and external safety, with grounding, with containment, with self-soothing, helping them navigate flashbacks that they have, and really broadening that window of arousal, right? So that they can tolerate more and more as they walk through life. You know me, I am often very overly ambitious in what I like to cram into my workshops. There's going to be a lot of variety in terms of the strategies that are going to be included. And so folks are going to learn about how to enhance attunement. We're going to do safe place collaging. We're going to do breath work, meditations, visualizations. You'll learn how to use art therapeutically. Again, we'll have this giant sand tray on the beach that we'll get to play with. I'm a huge believer in doing somatic resourcing, particularly Jean Genlin's model of focusing is one that I love because it's easy. It's easy for clinicians to learn how to use it in session. We'll do cognitive reframing, pacing, journaling, containment, lots of stuff. Definitely parts work. A lot of what I do, you know, I weave the dynamic of parts into that, working with the inner critic, soothing the inner critic, helping clients to access their wisest, most compassionate parts. So we're gonna, you know, I'm from New York, and that means I can talk fast enough to kind of cram all that in to the 15 hours that you're going to give me. So I know that folks are going to come away not only with a deeper didactic understanding, because I think that's important, you know, the sort of trauma-informed lens that we use to look at clients, but very concrete strategies and tools. And again, if you know me and you know my work, you know that that is my mission and my passion in every training that I give. I want you to have stuff that you can go back the next day and apply to your work with your clients. So you will come away with a toolbox full of resources.
Wow. Okay. I wanted this little half hour to have the opportunity for people to ask you questions. And also, I was going to talk about some things around the resort and other things we're doing there to make it a kind of a special week and cancellation policies and things. But I think we'll start off, since you've given so much information about this week, to see if there are any questions that anyone have about Lisa or the program or anything else that you would like to know. And no questions are bad questions, because this is a very open forum, and you can either put the questions in your chat box, or you can use the hand raising function on the bottom of your screen, or in the old fashioned way, you can go like this if you're on the
Yeah.
screen. Anyway, you can communicate with us for questions about Lisa's program before we go any further. So any questions that people have you'd like to ask at this point? And we'll have a little bit more time if some come up. Emily, do we have any questions yet?
I'm not seeing any so far.
Okay, so let me say a few things about the whole week, because you might have questions about that as well, like why should I go to Cancun? What about COVID and all those things? Well, first about the program, I realized we're gonna have a lot of therapists together, and only being at these workshops in the morning, and then we're at like a beautiful resort that kind of was chosen because it got such great reviews on TripAdvisor, run by a big American company which has a really good reputation. And after we kind of booked with them, they upgraded to even a better brand called their Dreams brand, and it's a beautiful properties, because if we're going to be together for a week, let's do it in a place that'll really be fun to be at. But then I thought, well, a lot of therapists are coming. What else would make for a great week? So number one, there are going to be things happening every day if you choose to do it outside of the webinar. So there's going to be yoga in the morning. There's going to be like a meet and mingle, which is just another word for happy hour. But this is an all-inclusive resort, which means all your drinks and all your food and everything's included once you get there. So we're going to say, like at 4:30, Lisa, everybody, you want to go? We're going to go to a designated place for people just to sit around and talk, and that's usually a nice place to say, hey, you want to go for dinner tonight? And I've been at all inclusives, and this is what happens. You say, oh yeah, we'll just go for dinner later and we'll carry on the conversation. So it's going to be super friendly in that way. And then each week, Lisa, I don't know if I told you, we have a very important person who's going to be there for the whole week. Now, your week, which actually is the week with Diana Fosha, and Diana and Lisa will be giving a Wednesday evening kind of talk about the state of the world in therapy for both groups. But we're going to have as a very special person, Farzana Doctor, who's well known in Canada, because she's a psychotherapist and in Canada, well-known published author of novels. And she's still in practice, and she's still winning awards as a novelist. And I've known Farzana for a long, long time. And after I invited her, I found out she wrote a book, her 2015, a novel called All Inclusive, taking place on an all-inclusive. So she's just a very interesting person. And the idea of having very interesting people is she'll be invited the opening night, Sunday night, we'll get together with everyone who's there. And the purpose of these invited guests are, you want to have a conversation with somebody. You say, Farzana, tell me more about you. Let's meet for lunch, or I'll meet you at the meet and greet and we'll chat. And she'll make a couple of presentations, maybe do a reading. So she'll do that, but it's just to enhance the experience. So Farzana will be there for that the week you're there, Lisa.
Nice.
So those are some of the things to make the week better. And in terms of the COVID situation, I've been watching it very, very closely. And number one, the region of Cancun is doing a lot better. Their numbers are going down. The hotel has a very strict COVID policy around many things. You can look on their website. They're also giving vaccine COVID tests before people go back to their countries. We'll see what it's like in February, but they're doing a very, very good job. And of course, being an all-inclusive, you'll be outside most of the time. We're expecting everyone to be double vaccinated to go to our programs, or have a medical excuse that for some reason they can't. So we're doing everything we can to make this work for everyone's health this coming February. So those are a few things about, besides Lisa's program, about what we're doing to kind of make this as good an experience as possible, both in terms of COVID safety and really just having a good time with a great group of people. So that's my little spiel about besides for Lisa's program. So maybe we'll open it up for any questions that anyone has, so things you're curious about, whether about Lisa and her program or anything to do about the hotel or cancellation policies right now. Actually, the cancellation policy, because we know people are concerned, is that there's no cancellation fee for the workshop rate, and the hotel has a very good policy as well. So you can look at that if that's something that you're concerned about. We're trying to make it as worry-free as possible. Okay, Emily, do we have anyone with any questions yet? No?
Not yet, no.
Okay,
One thing,
Go ahead.
Lisa.
no, go for it,
I was
Lisa.
gonna say we've rendered them speechless is what's happened.
And by the way, we know that a lot more people signed up to attend this than are here. This is always the case with everything you do. You might find this with your webinars as well. So what we do with everything, we record, this is being recorded. And everyone who signed up for it, whether you're here or not, will get this in their mailbox tomorrow. What this means for the people watching is, if you think, hey, this was kind of interesting, maybe I'll tell my friend, you can forward it to your friend. They can watch this. If we don't expect anyone to watch this again, there'll be no continuing education credits for watching this. There'll be no tests or anything like that. But you will get it because we don't know. Everyone's going to get it if they've signed up to watch this. So you'll get that tomorrow. So now would anyone like to be the first person to ask a question you think, oh, should I ask this question? Now you can do it if you would like. This will be a short session in any case, but if there's anything you'd like to know about Lisa's session or what we're doing in Cancun or getting there or signing up or not signing up or anything.
Someone's asked, can I get CEs for Lisa's training?
Yes, CEs for the United States and Canada will be available. We're working with a big American company that is able to get CEs for a lot of associations, and you can go to the website and see exactly which ones, but they've told us it pretty well covers the American scene, from my understanding. And for Canada, we've always had CEs with Canadian organizations, and that will continue for this. I think it'll be 15 or 16 hours, I'm not sure. It'll be the number of hours of the sessions.
Ida Jane.
Hi, Ida Jane.
Oh, I try to attend at least on an annual basis something that Lisa, that you are presenting as, because it's often just that infusion in all of the work, like that infusion of optimism that is like, yes, I needed to hear that again. And so while I would love to be going to Cancun, I am not. But still, I thought, oh, this will be a lovely little Monday bump to just to show up in this space and hear your voice. And so I don't have a question about any of that. And because I'm not going to Cancun, I thought I'd still ask this. Is there, like, as you have been like in that landscape and constructing that landscape of trauma therapy over these last almost 4 decades in the field, and you look out ahead at the landscape in front of you, is there an evolution of the work with individuals with those trauma histories? Is there an evolution that you are looking forward to, or you have an indication is getting ready to happen, like kind of that next, just to kind of, where do we go from here? And I have to say, I have so much regard for what you have brought into the conversations over the years around strengths-based.
Thank you. Oh, thank you. You made my day so incredibly kind. I always say Canadians are just the kindest people. Thank you. And that's actually a fabulous question. I love the question that you're asking. I wish I had known about it in advance. I really would have given it a whole lot more thought, because it's a very important and meaningful thing that you're asking. And there's no question, in the almost 40 years that I've been in the field, I've watched so much unfold, in terms of how we are working with trauma. And thank God, the way that we're working with it now is light years ahead and light years better of how we used to work with it. When I first started out in the field, it was all about people can't heal unless they completely relive every aspect of their abuse. And unfortunately, what we were really doing was just re-traumatizing everybody and putting them right back in fight, flight, freeze reactions. And we used to joke, although it wasn't a joke, that those of us in private practice had this invisible revolving door from our offices to, inpatient units, because inadvertently we really were making people more dysregulated. So I think where we've come to has been so important and so necessary in terms of understanding a couple of things. People don't need to remember and relive every single thing that's happened to them in order for them to heal. And I think we continue to hold to that and think that way. We have way more understanding now, and we're just in our infancy in terms of understanding the impact that trauma has on the brain and the impact it has on the body. And so I look forward, because I'm probably not retiring until I'm about 92, I look forward to that ongoing information about where trauma lives in the brain and where it lives on the body, and how we can continue to help our clients access those experiences. My sense is we're going to move more and more in the direction of right brain-based expressive modalities, which I find very exciting, and really knowing understanding the significance of integrating both left and right hemispheres. So we're not going to stop doing talk therapy. We want people to get their voices back. We want them to no longer hold secrets. We want to be able to bear witness to their narratives. But I really believe that we're going to continue to do more and more work with the body. And understand that you've got to bring on board those right brain-based modalities to really help people to genuinely heal. There's other stuff that's brewing, and I'm going to be frank with you, I've not yet learned enough about it to tell you whether or not I think it's going to be good for the field, but there's certainly, I think, intrigue and curiosity around the use of psychedelics. And I don't know where we're going with that. I'm a little bit biased. My husband's a family doc and he's not too happy with it, but I have to try to, learn more and be as open-minded as I can be about like where that's going to fit in ongoing treatment moving forward. So I think that's something that we should be looking at. And I think that's going to gain more traction in the field moving forward. That's the first thing that comes to my mind is, yeah, that's new. And let's see where we land with that and where we go with that. My hope is, there are, and I don't put myself in this category at all, there are real masters in the field, people like Bessel van der Kolk and Gina Fisher and Pat Ogden and Peter Levine. My hope is that the next generation of really talented, curious, creative therapists is looming somewhere back there, because I am a little worried, that as those of us who've been contributing get older and older, it's important that we have fresh ideas and young minds and creative thinking to continue to, infuse the work that we do. So, if you're in your 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, like, don't be shy, contribute to the field, because I think that energy is vitally important as we continue to move forward.
Thank you so much for that.
Thank you.
Sure.
The next question is, will there be material given to us during the sessions, or do we need to come with the materials in advance?
No, Michael's being incredibly generous. Now I'm going to put him on the spot and remind him of his generosity that all the materials are going to be there for you. So the crayons and the markers and the pencils and the paper and the, the things that we'll be using, you do not have to schlep anything in your suitcase. It will be there waiting for you. And I have this idea in my head that we'll also use just part of the environment that we're in to bring, objects to the sand and to work in that way. So you do not have to bring anything with you in terms of supplies. I'm glad that question got asked. Yeah.
But we will add that if you are providing any handouts, like that would go with the PowerPoint, those will be available on the website a month beforehand so that people have time to either upload them, download them, print them, whatever they would like to do. And we will have extra paper there just in case.
Yeah, and there will be handouts for sure, so that people will have concrete stuff that they can hold on to, look at ahead of time, as you're suggesting, Emily, and then certainly be able to bring with them back to their work.
Mm-hmm. And then the next question is, your approach and temperament seems so well suited to psych ed for a much broader population. Would you comment on how you see this going, besides your books, in the wider cultural and society?
Oh my goodness, these amazingly important questions. Wow. We're in a tough place in our world and in our society. Michael and I talk about it every once in a while. I have no memory of the world being as chaotic, as divisive, as potentially negative as it's been. And so I think it's so important for us as mental health providers to continue to bring optimism and joy and hope and humor to the work that we're doing for the population at large. I think it becomes a really vitally important counterpoint and reminder that even with, all you have to do is watch the news for 10 minutes and it gets a little bit depressing. All you have to do is be on social media for 5 minutes and you've been hit with a bunch of toxicity. So I think as mental health providers, it's really important that we are reminding people about the inherent goodness of humanity. And again, I think the therapeutic relationship is really where we can be offering that hope and that joy and that humor and that optimism. And boy, we need it in our culture, in our world, more than ever. But I will tell you, one of the more important interventions I've been making in the last year, and this may or may not be surprising to you as mental health providers, is get off social media. Just get off it, get it out of your life, because it is divisive, it is toxic, it is depressing. And I think part of the uptick that we're seeing in anxiety, nightmares, and depression is because people are spending hours and hours and hours going down that rabbit hole of social media. And so really limiting that, getting off of it if you can. I think that's an important mental health intervention that we should be articulating.
That's a good point, Lisa. Probably, I hadn't thought of this, is to encourage people, even if there's good Wi-Fi, just to take a week. And this is whether you come to Cancun with us or do anything else. We really need to get off that, not just social media, all of it as much as we can. Now, of course, if we're emailing friends or family, we have to do something for work, we have to do it. But too often we err on the side of, oh, we should check our messages again, or we should do this again. So I'm hoping when we're together in Cancun, as much as possible, people will be able to just give themselves a week to learn, but just to have fun and do other stuff.
Michael, I think this is one of the more important aspects of this wonderful thing that you've organized. If people who know my work know that I often make this statement: you're only as good professionally as the extent to which you take care of yourself personally. And I really think it's a fair statement that for the last year and a half, those of us in the mental health field, it's been exhausting. It's exhausting to do teletherapy. It's exhausting to hold the anxiety and fear that our clients come with. It's exhausting to hold our own personal anxiety and fears about the state of the world and COVID. And so, the reason why when you asked me to do this, without hesitation, I said, hell yes, is because I love the idea of promoting for mental health providers the opportunity to be in an environment where they really can be connecting with self-care, where they can be powering down, looking at the water, feeling your feet in the sand. We need this now more than ever. And I can tell you, because I stopped traveling like everybody else, and then I just started again. And my goodness, what an amazingly fabulous feeling it was just to be able to be in an environment that was aesthetically beautiful, to not look at my email for a couple of days. You don't realize how much you need that and the toll that it's taken to not be able to go to a beautiful place and to take care of yourself and to have a happy hour. We need this. We need this as mental health professionals so that we can recharge and re-energize and have what to bring back to our clients. So to me, I would put this week in Cancun like on a prescription pad if I could, because I really think it's necessary for mental health providers to create that opportunity and that space for self-care and joy. Like, we need it.
Oh, true. Emily, we're running out of time. Do we have another question or two?
No, and I think that's a great timing because it's noon.
Lisa, yeah, thanks for your last comment, Lisa. I was reading a book recently called Rest. I forgot who it's by. It was suggested by somebody, but just the importance, and that we lose that. And it's been lost. And everyone I know has talked about the last year and a half as being more stressful. Being online, it's great to connect with clients and friends and families from far away, but it really is tiring. So thank you for those words. And thank you for joining us to be number one on our meet and greet list. Well, everybody, it's been great that you're here watching and joining us for this, asking questions. We'll be doing this, as I said, with all our speakers. And if you can join us, Cancun, it'll be a great week. Lisa, thank you very much. And thank everyone. And have a good rest of the today, whether it's work or rest. Make it good. Thank you.